Hello and welcome everyone to another episode. Yes, so we are covering in this episode all the interplanetary vehicles I've created over the time, and this was my first attempt, untested, untried attempt at making a interplanetary vehicle. And my thoughts were that this thing would make it all the way to Jool and back, with all the fuel and the engines that it has and everything else. And to me, this thing looks like the Planetary Express. That's all I can say. And my God, is it wobbling? That's not that bad though. It's not that bad of a wobble. It's not a, oh my God, it's about to explode wobble. But yeah. So this thing was, I had high hopes for it in construction and everything else. And as you can see, if we spin around here, you will see a nice green planet off in the background. That would be everyone's favorite planet, Jool. I never actually made it to Jool. I mean, I have made it to Jool before. And, you know, that was like me playing solo. But you know, this was one of the vehicles I created, one of my first interplanetary vehicles that, you know, my idea of it would be to send it and for it to return. It didn't work so well. It made it there, but I always had a planned mission to bring it back, and that never happened as far as, you know, my videos are concerned, which I don't even know if I would still even try to bring this thing back. But, you know, anyways, that was kind of my first little fun attempt at trying to do stuff like this. Now, my second one, which is still technically on mission because I haven't decided to bring it back yet, is the Jool 11 Explorer, which, you know, like I said, is still on mission, and I have plans for something at least for the somewhat near future. Maybe I'll be doing a video on this soon. I just heard like some kind of an explosion or something. Now this vehicle worked somewhat well. This was another thing. This one you can see has a bit more fuel. Definitely big bit more fuel. Still use the same kind of, you know, design of having you know, more Kerbals on board. I don't know if, yes, they are actually more Kerbals on board. And this one had ion engines on it as well. They don't really work that well. You know, obviously they don't create a lot of thrust. The one problem with this vehicle is that with these engines, if the docking ports aren't all 100% correct, I believe there's one docking port on this structure somewhere that isn't fully docked up. Only 3 engines work, but if you undock in a different sequence, you'll get the 4th engine to work. But the problem is now that one of these tanks gets drained from fuel quickly, and they're not actually attached to this main tank here, which creates a problem because I have to constantly refuel that one tank, otherwise that engine will shut off and it won't fly correct. You know, obviously it will start spinning around because 1 out of the 4 engines isn't working. So that is the only problem I have with this thing. Other than that, a very successful ship. You know, we launched missions with it. We have our Ike probes down there. You can see that some of our probes have been, you know, sent down. I believe I did 3 probes or 2. I'm not 100% certain. I wanted to go see the mysterious asteroid, but fuel doesn't permit doing any of this stuff, only because we're at half tank right now. I did use the ion engines to bring us in closer, but there's only so far I can get. So, I mean, just to bring this down from 294 to like 200 would take like, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and then I would have to do that on the other side as well. So, overall, this design worked pretty well as far as an exploration ship. I did send out one of these ships on the side here, and hopefully that doesn't affect any of its flight characteristics when we decide to go back home. So after that one, I decided to go on a larger scale, a much larger scale. I wanted to be able to do something that hasn't been done in the game before, or at least that I haven't seen before, or, something along those lines, which is when I made the Jewel SS Carrier. Now, the Jewel SS Carrier, is that the Jewel SS Carrier? Yes, it is. Now, the Jewel SS Carrier itself is a very big ship, way overly designed. It works, but at the same time it doesn't, and, if you want to say that, just 16 ion engines, 5 nuclear engines, it's right in front of me, and the idea of what this thing was designed to do is to take a space station from Kerbal orbit to another planet. And that was the main idea all along. As you can see, it already has a stocked payload, if you want to call it that, and it will be bringing that payload to Duna, and that will be in the coming episodes that I will shoot. Some of these things I want to do only because of the fact that, it's, why shouldn't I do it? Because it's amazing. So, this one, once again, way over designed, lots of parts. A lot of these things, every one of them's kind of a precursor to the other one. So, and I learned about docking 5 and docking 4 with the previous craft, and it's like once you learn something like that, then you start taking advantage and learning and understanding how to build big structures. The hardest thing to do was to create a space station in which would fit perfectly in between these two docking ports, because I built this whole craft without designing basically a core that would fit inside of it first. So, maybe my next one I'll design a core and then design the spacecraft around the core. That way I know what I can fit inside the spacecraft itself. But, this one was a definite, just an amazing ship to build. It was really fun to do. I have some ideas for future ships that are going to probably operate 10 times better, be able to do way more, and just all around be a really decent ship. But, yeah. Anyways, guys, you know what? Thank you for watching. For all you guys who've watched me build these ships, one thing I will say, they're amazing, but you have no idea how much hair was pulled out in the creation of these things. There was many nights where I had to do nothing but sit there and build these things. This was probably one of the hardest feats as far as building anything in this game is concerned. Even Minmus Beta didn't give me as many problems as this base did. But, this was 5 separate launches. You can see there's one here, then there's these tanks here in the center, then this whole piece here up to these docking ports to here was all one piece. Then the main huge tanks here are all one piece, and then the very back engines, the whole engine portion was one piece. And getting this thing into orbit, each separate piece, was just a very big pain. And the one thing that I am happy about, and one thing that did work out very well, is the fact that these engines are all on the same stage and they all work off of one tank of fuel. So that was kind of, this was kind of one of the defining moments as far as construction for me. building things. This is a very big project compared to, even Minmus Space Beta and the Kerbal Space Station and all those other things I've built. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching. If you like what you see here, subscribe, and yeah, I will see you next time.